What's up guys, Grims here with a new video, and today I'll be showing you some PvP tips that might come in handy for you. Let's get started. Alright, the first tip is that you need to check out your settings and keybinds, and I'll show you the most important ones. So, go to your settings, your menu, and then scroll all the way down here. You can pretty much add your health bar as a percentage, as like a maximum, or as a current HP, or like whatever you have as an HP right now. Same goes for your resource bar. You have your camera settings, which is pretty important, which I recommend keeping always face target on and the use of free camera on. I'm not sure how it applies for mobile users, but for PC users this is pretty important. And then if you scroll down, you see your sensitivity for your mouse, whether you want it higher or lower, that's up to you. You have your zoom in speed, which is this. You zoom in and out really fast. You got your field of view, which is pretty important. For the sake of this video, I had it set on all the way to the lowest point. And if you turn it on to the highest point, you're able to have a much more, or let's say a bigger view of your surroundings. You can turn off camera shake, which I don't think it's necessary. It's basically when you deal a bunch of damage, you see your camera shaking. I don't think you need to turn that on. For your controls, you have auto run to target, which is single spells. Auto run to target. Basically, this forces you to run to the target when you want to cast a spell or when you want to auto attack. And then allow spell cast without target, which I recommend keeping on and turning off these three. And prioritize targeting players in PvP. This allows you to target the players in PvP without targeting the mobs. So for example, when you see like a giant skeleton summoned by a necromancer, this will prioritize targeting the necromancer player instead of the big skeleton. And you have auto sheath your weapons. I recommend turning this off, since if you have your weapon sheathed, the enemy will always have a second or a split second attack faster than what you have. Turn speed, just the turning speed, just this, basically turn around. And then you got your FPS monitor. If you want to turn that on, you can. I recommend turning on latency monitor, which is your MS down here. And once you're done with the general options, you can check your graphics, whatever suits you. You can set the graphics preset as very high or low. I recommend turning off vertical sync because this locks your FPS to a certain thing, and it just doesn't work properly in this game. I don't know why, but for me it never worked properly. You got your FPS limit. I recommend setting it as unlimited. And then when you go back to your audio, it's up to you if you want to mute your audio or not. You got your key bindings, which is really important. I recommend fidgeting with these and checking them out before hopping into a PvP match. Since you got target party members, like these are pretty useful for paladin users or healers in general, since you can target your party member and then heal them directly. And you also have the target next enemy, which is a tab skill. These are not available for mobile users, but for PC users, if you're playing on PC, these are pretty important to fidget around with. It gives you an advantage, pretty much. And you get all of these, you can just fidget with them really. Alright, so the second PvP tip is that you need a travel form, which is pretty important in 5v5, since, like for example, the falls map is so big. And just in general, that you need to start with a travel form when the match starts, so you can move in with your team all at the same time. The quickest way to get a travel form is by joining Death's Lair. And when you join Death's Lair, you just walk to the front until you reach this point and you start talking with Death, which he will have a quest, I think, right over here. Once you are done with that quest, you're able to get the blue-eyed soul dragon travel form, which is really easy to get. It wasn't that hard, and it's a free travel form for free-to-play players or pay-to-play players. It doesn't matter, but it's easy access to 160 speed percent travel form. Alright, so the third tip is that you need to choose a class that suits your playstyle. You can choose any class you want, really. This is up to you. Like, for example, you can choose a warrior, which can be a DPS and a tank at the same time. You got mage, which can cast a lot of just CC in general, which is really nice. You got healer, which is a support. Any class you want from all these classes, you can just pick one and start maining it. I recommend playing that one class until you master it, and then start with another class. And for the fourth tip, you need to choose your cross skills. Cross skills are really important. I highly recommend matching them with the class that you have. For example, if I'm able to pick healer, I'll match it with presence of mind, which basically increases my outgoing healing by 35%. Find the right cross skill that you like and match it with your class. And for the fifth tip, you need to travel to the battle hall. Once you're at the battle hall, for example, you got recover, dash, block, refresh, mark, fester, mend, and rush. You can pick two PvP skills, sorry. So you got the first one right over here, and you got the second one right over here. And also remember that you have recall, which basically recalls you back to base if you're in the PvP map. And for the sixth tip, you also have to remember that you need to learn the maps, which we have two maps right currently. One is called Falls and one is called Feast Hall. Both are relatively easy to remember. Falls is kind of the hardest to play because it requires more movement or more rotations around the map, so you can focus on your zones. And you also have to remember that the gameplay around both of these maps revolves around control points, which are the zones A, B, and C. You need to capture them. And also that you need to remember your bounty timers, which in both maps it starts at 8 minutes exactly. And when you finish picking up the first bounty, 2 minutes away from when you picked it up, another bounty should spawn. For example, let's say you picked it up at 7:45, the next bounty should be at 5:45. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to give it a like if you did. Subscribe for more. Share it around because it helps me and I would be thankful for that. Check out my other videos if you haven't. And until next time, adios amigos.